The after parameterized constructor, nothing but after initialization of object like instance variables using the parameterized constructor, a very important concept is a private variables and setter and getter methods. Sir, what all these things? Very, very important discussion today, and you need to practice more. The first thing is what? Private, a variable or method, but remember, methods always public. Methods always public. Why? Slowly you will understand. Variables, that information always private. Variables always private. That is. Let me explain. If the variable is private, if the variable is private, we can access directly from the same class only. From the same class. Within the class only, we can access directly. See, I'll explain with examples. Either it is a static variable or instance variable. Suppose in main class, I'm declaring variables. Two variables, let me declare two variables, right? One is a normal variable is okay. Static integer x equals to 10. Next, private. Private static int y is equals to 20. Two variables I declared clearly in the main class. And here from the main, I'm trying to display the values of x and y. Simply how to access? A static variables we always access using the class name main.x. And in the same way, system.out.println, here it is main.y. See, one is a private variable. Second one is not the private variable. When you run the code, you will get the output. You will get the output 10 and 20. 10 and 20. This is. Sir, suppose if it is instance variable. Sir, I'm removing this static. We know that instance variables directly we will not initialize. Of course, through constructor and all. Na? Just two variables I am declaring. Int x is equal to int x and private int y. We know already how to access instance variables by creating the object for that class. These two variables belongs to main class. So we are creating the object of main class. Main m is equal to new main of. Then we are accessing m.x, m.y. And when you run the code, default values 0 and 0 will display. So either it is the static variable or it is instance variable. Remember, if it is a private variable, we can access from the same class. Directly we can access. Directly. The next one. Conclusion I'll give. With the general examples I'll give so that easily you will understand. Okay now. Next. Now other class. I'm taking one extra class. I'm removing this. I'm taking other class. Class name is a test. Now in a test class, I'm declaring two variables. One is a normal variable. and one is a private variable. Is a private variable. How can we access? How can we access system.out.println? Static variable means you know that using the class name test.x. Look at this. This is not the private. So you can access. X value is not private. No? See, you can access and you will get the output. You will get the output. But suppose if it is private variable, whenever you are trying to access private variable test.y, run test.y. Look at this. Y has a private access in test. Y has a private access in test. You cannot access. Normal thinking now. Normal thinking. Sir, why it is not allowed? Suppose I'm taking one person is a person. This person has information, private information, private data. So what is that private data? Name is a private, account number is a private, balance in account is a private. Everything is a private. It's not visible to other people directly. Na? But remember, when the person want to get the information their self, can access or not? Yes, can access their self directly. Their self directly. That is nothing but within the class. Imagine another person is there. Another person. Now the second person trying to access this information. Is this possible? No. Other person cannot access the information directly. That's why private variables within the class allowed directly, but from other classes is not allowed directly. Okay, then if other person want to access, then how can we access? So that is actually called setters and getter methods that I'll explain very clearly. Okay, first you just test this quickly, everybody. Now the question is what? Sir, when you cannot access other person information directly, right? That is possible with communication. You can communicate with the person. Communications means what? The person receiving the information as well as the person sending the information. We'll see multiple examples so that it will be very, very easy. Two types of methods you have to use here. Suppose if you take one private variable, private static int x, this is the value. Directly if you try to access, how? System.out.println x value s.x, you will get the error message. As we have seen just, you will get the error message. So then how can we access? How can we access? If it is a static variable, static method you need to define. Getter and setter means, if it is x, you need to define get x value and set x value. If it is id, you need to define get id and set id. If it is name, you need to define get name and set name. These are called getters and setter methods. So how to define? Exactly opposite two methods. First, I'll explain with get only. Get x. It will return that x value. It will return x. X means what? Test dot x. Static na? See, it is returning that x value. X is which type? Integer type. Return type is int. And the method is a static method. Static. Okay. Then how to access? You know methods very well, right? Please practice once again the methods. So simply test dot get x you need to call. Then return value will print directly. So we are calling. Look at this, how to define the get is important one. Here it is. If it is variable is x, get x, get x, and it is returning that x value. It's a static na. If it is a static variable, method is also static. What type of data you are returning? Integer. So return type of the method is integer. So we are calling using the class name, and the returned value will directly collect and display by the system.out.println. Now if you run the code, you will get the output of this code. That is 0. Look at this, 0. Then I'll explain setter also. Please practice this quick. See, when two are there variables, suppose x comma y, write the two things. Okay. Like one more here, it is a static integer get y. It is returning what? Test dot y. Then access in the same way. Access in the same way. Get x and get y. So now you will get two zeros. Of course, setters also I'll explain. Setters in the same way you need to access. Please use from the second word, every word starts with a capital letter. Okay. In the same way, how we define getter method for x, in the same way you please define getter method for y also. And access using the class name, because these are the static. Now with the different values also I'll explain. Please do this. Now let me explain how to define that setter methods as well as getter methods. I'm taking just one variable, private static int x, private static int x. Okay. Now same getter method and setter method. We know how to write the getter method. Public int get x. Get x. Public, if you want to write, you can, but static is compulsory. If the variable is a static, method is also static. Getter always return. But setter, so now we are defining set x. Set x. It is taking. It is taking and it's not returning anything. It's not returning anything. But inside, how to assign? Look at this. Test.x is equal to x. This line is important. I'll explain. After writing the complete code, test.x is equal to 10 and then printing. But can you assign the value directly? No. Test.set x value 10. Then printing system.out.println test.get x. Look at this. How this code gets executed. See, When you are calling set x method, actually you are trying to pass the value. So this 10 will come and store into this variable called x, This is okay now. Now this x value, right, will be assigned to the static variable. How to assign? How to work with static variable? You know that using the class name. This value will go and store into this x. This is setting the value. Now x contains the value 10. It's not returning anything, taking. So one is giving and one is taking. This is giving. Now taking means what? Calling the getX method. GetX. So it is giving that value. Sorry, test, I'll explain. And it will return the value back. The 10 will display. Test. This is the way of writing setters and getter methods for the given variable. See, we are setting the value 10. The same value we are getting simply. Okay. Please do this quick and drop the code. Our own value means what? No, that scanner class, yeah. How to work with the scanner class, I'll explain, because in a scanner, we need to create object for the scanner class. Scanner scan is equal to, that's all. We just completed that instance, how to work with a instance members, how to use constructor, how to create object and all. No? So I'll explain that scanner class. So that will be easy. Okay, don't worry. Now here it is. I'm just writing only one variable called x. Now, normally how we define means what? In this way. Let me explain. Here it is. Suppose this is a class employee. Employee has ID. Now it is instance I'm writing, not static. Employee ID. Next employee name. All are private. Name and employee salary. Private double salary. Now I'm defining that setters and getter methods. First of all, let me explain how to write the setter methods. Public void. Setter methods return type always void. It's not returning anything, but it is taking. Right? Just now we have seen if it is a static, we access using the class name. If it is instance, we know already this. This dot ID. Yeah, recording started. Now it is recording. Yeah, it is recording. Okay. Now public void set name, and it is taking that name, and here it is this dot name equals to name. Next one is a public void set salary. It's a double salary. This dot salary equals to salary. Very easy way we are writing. Of course, when you just define these three, write in a Eclipse or IntelliJ, automatically Eclipse IDE and IntelliJ IDE directly generate setters and getters, but not now. We are still learning the basic concepts of core. So better we need to write the methods continuously. Later, no need to write all these things. All the things will be generated by the IDE simply. You don't worry. Next, yeah. Yeah, reason is what? See, in the previous one, I have defined static. Variable is a static using class name. If variable is an instance using this. Okay, right. Now int get ID. Why int means what? It is returning that ID. ID is which type? Int type. So return type is a int. Return type is int. Next one, get name. It is returning that name. Return this dot name. So return type is a string. String. Next one is a salary. Public double get salary. It will return this dot salary. If three variables are there, three getters and three setters will be generated. We need to write the code. See, I'll show you. Uh, Now today not required. After that, after few days actually how we define the code and all, I'll explain. But initially we need to learn how to write the setter methods and getter methods. We must follow from the second word. Every word starts with a capital letter only. This is very, very important. Naming convention rule we just call. Now how to access? Sir, these are instance variables. So what is required? Object is required. Employee, object, employee, E is equal to new employee. Now we are setting the values to this one. E dot set ID integer. E dot set name. Name is a string, so we just specify with the double quotes. E dot set salary. Suppose 35,000. Like this salary we set. After that we are getting. Once you get directly you can display return value. E dot get ID printing. Sir, before that I just want to give any message. Okay, clear message. Employee ID is in the same way. Employee name is, employee salary is. With clear messages, I just want to display get ID, get name, get salary. Just run the code. What all the values you set, all the values are printing. See, in real time, nothing but whenever you are learning like advanced concepts and mostly strings concepts and all. Suppose here it is, I'm writing a class is a main class. Any class you can take main class. In this one, I'm declaring private int id, private string name, private double salary, private string mail id, private string address, private string address, private. Suppose these are the things. Simple. Just right click on this source, generate getters and setters, select all, generate, finish. Look at this. Actually, we have written, na, but no need to write. But in advanced, not from the beginning. See how clearly generated. From the second word, every word starts with a capital letter. This is system generated code. So what I'm trying to say, whenever we become strong in Java, most of the code IDEs only will write. No need to write. But in learning stage only, we must write this code. We must write this code. Remember, this is getters, and this is the main class. This is the one. In the same way, you please take the class student and try to write. Student contains the details like private string name, private string course, which course you are learning, private double fee, generate setters and getters for this one after completion of this code. Okay, please do this quick. So after completion of this employee, you just try working with the student. Okay, once you have completed up to this area, you can easily understand the object oriented programming concepts like encapsulation, inheritance, abstraction, and polymorphism. Okay, you can leave.